The 805 Focus is brought to you in part by Nonprofit Connect. Nonprofit Connect provides superior leadership tools and resources so nonprofit leaders and board members can make valuable decisions to move their organization forward to a sustainable and vibrant future. More information on services online at nonprofitconnect.org.
Welcome to 805 Focus. I'm Dr. Cinder Sinclair with Nonprofit Connect, and we will be bringing you the latest on your favorite nonprofits. So get ready to be inspired. Our special guest today is Dean Wilson, and Dean is President and CEO of the Turner Foundation. Welcome, Dean.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Gosh, I'm so glad.
We even coordinated our colors.
We do.
We look great, don't we?
Yeah, we do. I think, yeah. So I am very interested to know about how the Turner Foundation started. I know it's a long, rich history.
Yeah.
Very interesting. If you could tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so in 1958, my grandfather started the foundation. He was actually kind of a minister. He came from Ireland to Michigan and then ended up in Riverside, California. And he had a heart for low-income seniors. And this is kind of before retirement homes are what they are today. So
sure.
he built one. He built a campus, called it the Village. And instead of just being apartments, it was apartments, but then there was a community center in the middle. There was actually a restaurant. There was a salon. There was a library. There was all these cool things. And this is in the 50s, before, again, like before kind of what we have now, what retirement homes are now.
Yeah.
So he was doing this for low-income seniors who had, very little money, no resources. And so I grew up there. I mean, I grew up half an hour away in Orange County, and we'd go over there, and my memories are, I get on the golf cart with Reverend Turner, they called him Reverend Turner, and we drive around the golf cart, and he just loved on these people. He just loved on these seniors, and these little old ladies, I mean, just beautiful. And they loved him, and he loved them. And his mission was, he actually said it, there was a newspaper article that came out, he actually said, anything I can do for them, I want to do it, is what his heart was. So I grew up with this. I grew up going over there, driving around, seeing him love on these folks. And so when I got involved in this, I guess it's been about 20 years ago, when I started to think, and my grandfather had passed on, and my grandmother, and my dad had kind of been carrying the torch. But when I asked my dad one day, I said, Dad, Reverend Turner's model, which was let's serve low-income people through the vehicle of apartment communities in all these ways. I said, what if we did it, and if it wasn't just seniors? What if it was just low-income people, especially kids? So what if we bought an apartment complex, a low-income apartment complex, and just set up a little community center and just started serving the folks? Whatever, after-school programs, tutoring, art, music for the kids. What if we just said, let's find as many ways that we can to serve the people who live in that apartment complex? So we did it. So in 2005, we bought a complex on the west side of Santa Barbara, and we actually moved the foundation to Santa Barbara. And we renamed it. It was called Casa Perdido, which I think means lost home or home for the lost or something. And it was pretty lost, I'll tell you. We renamed it the Village, kind of in my grandfather's mantra. And we just started serving people. And I actually officed there for 3 years. I was on the ground. Crime was high, turnover was high, problems, violence. There was a lot of gang activity. There was a lot of other not good stuff going on in that kind of neck of the woods on the west side. We saw Cinder over the first 3 years even. We painted it. They said, don't paint it, they'll graffiti it. We painted it. They said, don't plant flowers, they'll trample them. We planted flowers. We kind of did all the opposite things that a normal low-income landlord would do. And we just started loving on the people. We set up a community. We turned a 3-bedroom apartment. There was 2 3-bedroom apartments next door to each other. We took them both over and we made it one big community center. Started tutoring the kids, started doing music for the kids, piano lessons, and started doing art and summer camp when they were home for the summer. What we saw happen and what has happened, and I could talk about this for the whole 20 minutes, so I'll wrap it up. I'm wrapping it up. What we saw was transformation. We saw crime go down by 95%. We saw, we had a live-in police officer there for a period of time to get rid of drug dealers. And we saw a sense of community grow. These kids are being tutored. People who, if your kids are being tutored in your apartment complex, you want to behave well because you don't want to get thrown out, right?
Yeah.
You want to actually find a way to pay the rent because they don't have that at the apartment complex across the street.
Yeah.
We saw school attendance go up, grades go up, behavior improve. You know, if somebody, one time I came in on a Monday, there had been some tires slashed. And we knew through various folks, we knew the apartment that the people were coming in and out of who slashed the tires. So I just called them into my office, and I was officing there. And I said, look, and I actually had a clipboard with a waiting list of people who wanted apartments at the Village. We packed it out, it was full.
Yeah.
I said, now, we like you. I think you like us. This kind of thing doesn't go on here. We don't do this tire slashing thing, right? And I said, and I've got a clipboard here, and these people want your apartment. So, you know, no more tire slashing. No, there was no more tire slashing. There was no more problems out of that unit because people realize this is a special place.
Yeah.
We don't do that kind of thing around here. It's full. Our apartment complexes, we have 2 now on the west side, always full. There's a sense of community. There's good things going on. It's almost like the good is triumphing. There's light in these places that used to be really dark. There's the light. So all that to say, my grandfather's vision, using apartments to care for people, and we've just tried to build on it.
Wow. So you transformed the entire neighborhood, the community.
We've seen amazing transformation, and what's happened actually, and it's been interesting, is there has been a kind of a residual thing that's happened. The next door neighbor complex, which was a really rough one, after we started kind of doing our remodel and rehab, they've done some stuff. The complex across the street did a complete remodel. So the goodness spreads.
Yes.
You know, goodness spreads. It's contagious, and so all of a sudden the whole, I would say on that street where we are on the west side, that whole area has kind of come up in the last 15 years. So it's been really wonderful to see.
So how many, do you have more complexes around town now, or just those 2 there
Just
on the west
2.
side?
So
Okay.
we've focused on the 2. So one's called the Village, one's called the Lighthouse. They're a little over a mile apart on the west side, and they're both just kind of like beacons, you know, and great things are happening in both. You know, we have thought about going, you know, kind of expanding our footprint, and we may do that in the coming year. The model works.
Yeah, it's a model.
It's a model. And I did this in Texas. So when I went to Texas for 10 years, which is kind of, we went down to Texas and kind of raised our kids for a period of time for 10 years. And I took this idea and I did something in Texas called Behind Every Door, same exact thing. We bought apartment complexes in South Dallas and East Dallas. Now this was on a bigger scale, and everything's bigger in Texas. So these were, these were 400 unit kind of complex, huge complexes. But we did the same thing. Let's love on the people. Let's care for them. Let's get rid of the crime. Let's serve and love the people with no agenda other than to serve and love the people. And what happened in Texas was the same thing that happened here. Behavior improved, crime went down, sense of community. Normally, a lot of times, Cinder, in C grade, what they would call C grade apartment complexes, older, low income apartment complexes, there's a lot of isolation.
Oh.
People go in their apartment, they shut the door. There's and that tends to be the way it is. Our model brings them out. Let's have a barbecue. Let's have we have a music program at our complex, so the kids are doing music. There's a band. There's all this stuff happening. Then you had David Rojas on, our music guy, as a guest. We'll have an award ceremony for the music program, and the parents come out, and there's food, and there's so sense of community is a big part of it. Because I think as human beings, we're built for community. It's not good that man is alone. You know, we're built for each other. We need relationship. That's part, and so we want to foster that. So at our apartment complexes, we want to foster a sense of community. We care about you. There's people that care about you here. You don't have to be in your apartment all alone. And I've got lots of great things, stories that have happened because of that kind of focus.
That's a powerful message. And
I
you are
think so.
living out your grandfather's vision, which is so admirable.
He was, you know, there's a proverb, I think, that says, a noble man makes noble plans, and by noble deeds they're known.
Yeah.
You know, he was a noble man, and he made some noble plans, and his plans were for others. His vision was about other people. He wasn't trying to make money. He did it in a nonprofit.
Yeah.
He wasn't trying to get rich. He was trying to serve these folks as best he could, and he did it. And we're just, you know, I feel like we're standing on his shoulders, you know, in some respects, and saying, okay, what can we do now? And now, because the foundation's grown over these 64 years, you know, we're able to do more things. We're able to serve people in other ways, and the foundation's doing more and more things now that I hope he's happy about.
I bet he is. I bet he's very happy.
I think about him all the time.
So tell us about some of the other things that the Turner Foundation is doing.
Yeah, so we, you know, the music program is a big part of what we do, which happens at the complexes. We have started a little TV show. I'm trying to copy you a little bit.
Yes, I love that show.
Trying to be like Cinder when I grow up.
Oh, aren't you funny?
But we started a little TV show called Good Life TV right here on TV Santa Barbara, so you can check us out. And I know it's on Fridays at 4:30 and I think Sundays at 8 on Channel 17 on Cox. So we have started a little program called Good Life TV, which we're trying to tell great stories. It's basically people from all walks of life, just good stories, overcoming, entrepreneurs, you know, people that are doing great things. Yesterday I interviewed a mom and a son. This is a 10-year-old boy who's been battling lymphoma for 2 years, and he's just, his spirit is great, and he's strong, and he's overcoming, like stories like that. So it's just, you know, we're basically trying to highlight great stories. So we have started a little TV show, Good Life TV. You can find that at goodlifetelevision.org. And then, you know, and then we the last thing I'd say is we are doing a little bit of work with special needs families. I have a special needs daughter, and we've had a heart for that for the last 20 years, where we provide some scholarship money for them to get treatment where it's needed. We send these boxes, we call them boxes of love, just full of stuff and gift certificates and to a family that just shows up on their doorstep just to kind of love on them.
Oh, nice.
So special needs family, that's another area. But so we're just trying to expand our impact. This is all about loving people. You know, I always think about it, you know, how can we love people today? Who can we love today? Who can we bless today? Who can we serve? There's so much opportunity. And you know, you do this all day long, and you're working with people making an impact, nonprofits. It's just so exciting. You know, you never get bored if you're thinking about serving other people.
Yeah,
You
it's
know.
inspiring.
It's so great. So, and I love what you're doing, because you're highlighting that, and you're giving these nonprofits an opportunity to tell their story, which other people can then get involved.
Yeah.
Because if you're bored, then man, there's lots you can do.
Yeah, that's true. And so your funding comes from donations only?
We have the income from the apartment complexes.
Of course.
Is a big part of our funding. We also have individual donors. We do get some grants and some, you know, we have some corporate support. We also had a big event. We have a big event called the Legacy event. We've done twice. We'll do it again. I'm not sure if it'll be this year or next year, what year it'll be, but on all that information's on our website. But we've had a couple fundraising big events, which we had never done in 60 years of our history. We said for our 60th birthday, let's do a big event. So we did, and then we did another one this last year. So events we will have from time to time to raise money as well. Yeah.
Great. I mean, to me, this sounds like a wonderful organization that any business or individual would want to support. And so let's just say somebody's watching this and say, yeah, I want to be part of that.
Yeah.
They could go to your website, I bet,
Yeah.
and make a tax-deductible donation, maybe push the Donate Now button.
Yeah.
Do you have that?
Yeah, they can donate through our website. You know, there's all kinds of things that, you know, especially these kids, these low-income kids they're at our properties, and there's so many ways that they're being served that somebody could help support. You know, the biggest thing obviously is education. You know, we're helping these kids, and even during the pandemic, we actually turned our community centers into remote learning centers. They actually was like little schools for these kids, so they didn't get behind. But
That's smart.
yeah, so we're in it with the kids, these low-income kids. They get after-school tutoring and support. We communicate with the teachers. Our staff is communicating with teachers and principals at schools to make sure that we're working together to give these kids the absolute best shot at getting a great education. We started a scholarship fund every year now, because kids that come through our program, when they graduate from high school, a lot of them want to be the first generation college student in the family. We are giving scholarship dollars to help them do that. So if somebody wanted to give toward the scholarship fund, we could do more kids, because once the kids come through our program, we want to give them that next step, the opportunity. If you want to be a first generation college student, all right, we're with you. Here's a scholarship fund you can apply for. So we've had, I think last year we had 4 of our own kids were given scholarships, and they're able to get that next level of education. You know, there's summer programs, like I mentioned. There's an incredible music program that happens on site at our properties. We have an open air music studio where these kids are given the gift of music. And we were able to afford giving our daughters the violin lesson as growing up, right? That's a gift. These kids just don't have that opportunity at our properties. So when you can give them the gift of music, it's life-changing. And all of a sudden they're thinking in different ways, and they have this, a lot of them are gifted. And we never would have known.
Right.
You know, we never would have known. So the gift of music is a big part of what we're doing with our kids at the properties.
That is beautiful. And you know, this is such a model, a shining model. I would imagine you have your doors knocked down by people wanting to know more about it so they can reproduce it in their own community.
The thing about the Stern Foundation for a long time, for like the first 40 or 45 or 50 years, is it was pretty under the radar. It was kind of like the foundation just kind of did what it did, and nobody really knew about it. And it was since I've gotten involved over the last 15 years or so, and especially since we came to Santa Barbara, where we are trying to tell the story. Because when people hear about it, and I haven't even talked about our newest initiative, which I'll talk about for 1 minute. When people find out about what we're doing, they are excited, and it's just kind of, we're in the process right now of spreading the word and getting the word out. But I will mention this real quickly: is in Santa Barbara, you wouldn't know it necessarily, but it's true that there's a big homeless population in the 18 to 24 age group. There's a lot of couch surfing, people living in their cars, young people coming out of the foster system or whatever the case might be. Don't have a place to live. We have rented a triplex called the Foundation House. It's on the west side on Mission, and we have put 11 young people who are formerly homeless in this house. It's a sober house. There's resident assistants, one male, one female. One of the houses is female, 2 of them are male. There's residence assistant who live there on site. There's expectations and rules and accountability. And even case management through our partners at the YMCA, Youth and Family Services. This Foundation House is a really cool thing. And I just encourage people to go to our website and maybe click on Foundation House. Because this, speaking of a model, this is life-changing for young people. And if you're a foster kid, and you turn 18 and all of a sudden you're on your own, it's tough. Housing's tough for anybody right now. It's especially tough for these young people. We have a place now. It's called the Foundation House, and I'd encourage people to check it out. We just started, we're only 9 months into it, so it is new, but I think we might be onto something here with this model.
But you're just following your own model, and you're doing what you already know that you do well, and it works and it changes lives. That's so exciting.
Housing is an incredible tools, and that's what I've learned in these watching my how when you can house people well, with dignity, with love, it's life changing. You know, and if you don't have housing, if you don't have stability in that sense, I don't know what the hierarchy of needs is. I've read that one time,
sure.
but I know safety and security and
yes,
housing is pretty much at the bottom. We need to have that. People need to have a roof over their head, a safe place. When you have that, all kinds of good things can happen in your life, education and work. And if you don't have that, if you're out of a car or you're couch surfing from friend to friend, you don't have that stability that's at the ground level of all these good things that can happen. So I think I've learned that. It's probably in my DNA a little bit from my grandfather, that we can serve people incredibly well using housing.
Well, yes, I agree. Housing is so important. But you build on that housing piece to make it so rich and full of love, and it draws people like a magnet, and it transforms lives. It's amazing.
Thank you. That's well said. Thank you. You need to be our spokesperson. And she's, I have 2 redhead daughters, by the way, so I'm partial.
Well, bless you for that.
You'd fit right in our family. No, it's fun, and this is so exciting. It's great to be alive. Every morning we get to wake up and think about serving people. It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Dean, thank you so much for all the incredible things that you're doing to bless our community.
Yeah, thank you.
And for sharing all this with us today.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
And thanks for joining us on 805 Focus, and we'll see you next time.